Okay, beautiful soul. I am so excited to dig into today's topic. We're going to be talking about why it feels like chaos when you potentially feels like chaos as you're manifesting a new version of yourself. So if you're in that moment in time, you're kind of in that void and you feel like things are shifting, things feel scary, things feel like they're not manifesting, things feel like they're testing you, what some people may call chaotic energy. We're going to be digging into that today, why that's occurring, and what you can do to start to alleviate that chaotic energy so that you have more ease and flow for your manifestations to come to fruition that much faster. So, the thing that I downloaded recently was around this idea of basically what's happening is you've got your old energetic blueprint, which is the version of you that has been operating at this basically this current version in time, and you've placed an order with the universe. So you basically said, "Hey universe, I desire for this." So you've got this new energetic blueprint that's coming into this old energetic blueprint, and it's starting to almost uproot the old energy that isn't in alignment with the new energy, because that new high vibrational energy that's coming in is basically asking for the old things that are out of alignment to step away to create spaciousness for the new. So the old energy is starting to dance with the new energy, and we're being guided into, okay, great. Now where does that leave us? So that can feel like chaos for a lot of people. And really what you're being tasked to do is to start to look at it from a different perspective. So essentially what's happening is similar to what I was saying before, is that new energy is coming in and it's asking for the old energy that's out of alignment to fall away. So what does that actually look like in the tactical 3D world? That looks like things that trigger us, that are asking us to expand into the new version of us that can hold the vision we just placed an order for. So for instance, if you're making multiple six figures and you want to step into making seven figures, the universe is going to say, great. And that requires a new version of you that can hold the seven figures, right? This old version of you right now, this is not the version of you that can hold the seven, or you would already be holding it. So I'm going to ask you to expand, is essentially what the universe is doing. Now, how do we expand? We expand through the triggers. We expand through the things that we feel resistance around, because those are the things that are changing. And we feel a resistance because we don't like change sometimes. There's a part of us, our 3D ego, that really likes to stay comfortable. And that's actually not what we came here to do. We came here to expand. And so it's so important for us to start to tune in and say, actually, what's happening when this is going on is I'm being tasked with expanding. So the triggers are actually the expanders. They're expanding you into the next level version of self. So when something happens, for instance, let's say you're stepping into this new version of you, and all of a sudden, you're building your website, and all of a sudden it crashes, right? And you've got all these new brand images in there, and da 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 da. Okay, great. What is your response to the fact that the website just crashed? What stories are you telling yourself? Whatever that dialogue is, both conscious and unconscious, because there's going to be unconscious energy at play here, that's what needs to shift. So the little things that feel chaotic that are happening in your awareness are trying to point you in the right direction of what you need to expand beyond. So I want you to start to look at this from both consciously, what's the internal dialogue around the trigger that just happened? Because essentially that internal dialogue has an energetic weight attached to it, and it's probably heavy, right? It's a heavy weight that's keeping you out of alignment because it's weighing you down with the higher vibrational ask, the seven figures. So there's a version of you that's at a higher frequency that has the seven figures, and there's a version of you that has the multiple seven figures that's at a lower vibrational point. Now, what is causing you to be at the lower vibrational point is, one, some of the conscious thoughts that you're thinking. So we need to start to understand, what is some of the stories I'm telling myself in between where I am and where I want to go that is weighing me down, and how can I start to alchemize those stories, right? Sometimes it's as easy as understanding consciously the story that you had before and choosing into something different. Sometimes it's that simple. Now, sometimes these are wired pretty deeply, and we have to start to uproot them in different ways, which is why I believe so profoundly in healing. That's why it's a huge part of my mastermind. That's why it's a huge part of my one-on-one coaching. That's why it's a huge part of any course that you step into with me. It's all about healing what's in the way of what you want, because ultimately there's different modalities that we can use to start to move the energy that's been holding us down, holding us back. And it's so important for us to start to say, I need to shift the old energy to step into the new. Right? And that's going to be different for every single person, but we have to start to shift that energy so that we can move forward. Now, there's going to be other things at play that are happening that are really important too. And what that is the unconscious, that we're not totally aware of why we're feeling so triggered by something. Something's being triggered and we're not sure why consciously. So sometimes that's unconsciously. So to give you an example of what I mean by this is, I remember when my son was just first starting to go to the Montessori school that he goes to. And I remember being, we were, me and Brad in the hot tub, and we're talking about him going to school. And I was so scared of someone that I didn't know changing my son's diaper. Like, I was like, no, like there's something about it. And Brad's like, that's not normal that you're feeling this. He's like, I don't want to discredit the fact that you're feeling this sensation and this fear, but there's something here that I think you need to explore. I don't really understand what this is. And because he's like, the school is safe. The teachers are safe. We've met all of them. You got a vibe check with them. Like, why are you feeling so nervous? And I started to have an actual somatic release of old energy in my body where I felt like I was about to throw up. I had to get out of the hot tub. I was like leaning over the edge, like basically dry heaving outside of the pool and the hot tub. And what I was doing was I was starting to bring from the unconscious into the conscious an old memory that was ready for me to see, witness, love on, and release. So this was an unconscious thing that was starting to come into my conscious awareness, which was telling me it's just ready to move. And so now that it came into my conscious awareness, okay, great. Now I've got a piece of the puzzle that I wasn't ready to look at before, that I'm now ready to look at now, that I can now heal and release with my own healer. Now I was able to somatically start to move it myself. So what that meant was I was without even trying, essentially dry heaving the old energy out of my body. But what it was doing was bringing this unconscious again into the conscious, which a lot of people think when we brought something into our conscious awareness, like, oh, shoot, there I go again. I'm so far behind. I can't believe I'm still living this old pattern. And to me, what I'm witnessing within them is I'm like, if you're consciously aware of it, that means it's gone from unconscious to conscious, and you're actually moving the energy in real time. Now let's take it from the conscious out of the mind, body, and spirit altogether. That's where healing modalities start to come into play. That's where I feel like it's kind of like talk therapy. It's now in the conscious awareness, but that's where I feel like the healing takes us even further. That's why I so deeply believe in the healing that I bring into all of my spaces, which is we don't just want to talk about it. We want to heal it. We want to move it. We want to say, okay, it's in my conscious awareness. I don't just want to add energy to it by talking about it for 20 years in therapy. I want to move it. I want to love on that part of me that's coming online that felt unsafe in that moment, that needed to clear the energy around that didn't feel good during that experience. What does she need to hear in this moment? Let me start to love on that and heal that part of me. Now, because I'm a healer, I'm able to do that and hold that sacred space for myself. Now, I also have my own healer for that reason, for many reasons, but because it's really powerful to receive healings without not just facilitating it. So there's power in receiving, but also I have my own blinders on as well, and so it's like I need someone to help me see the higher picture when I'm in my own triggers. So that's the power of someone holding this really sacred space and sacred container, is that it allows us to better understand what is the thing that I need to heal from, and how can someone help me see this from a 300,000 foot view versus the 1 foot view that I'm in right now. So really powerful. It allows us to start to step into this next level version of ourselves. And so there's many ways to start to recognize, okay, while it's feeling chaotic, like when I was dry heaving, I was feeling very chaotic, but I wanted to step into the next level version of being a mother. And so for me, what that meant was I had to heal and clear all of these unconscious beliefs around there being safety with someone changing my son's diaper, right? Because I had this unconscious story that was living in the cells of my body that needed to be witnessed and loved on, right? So it's so powerful when these dormant memories start to come to the surface. They allow for us to start to cleanse and clear them. But I 10 out of 10 recommend step into a sacred container that you feel safe in, that you can be seen and held in, so that you can move that energy. Even if you're a healer yourself, it's so powerful for us to have sacred containers for us to start to move the energy. Now, this is kind of an intense example of how, my body started to process out some dormant old memories of childhood, being molested as a child, things like that. And so I knew that I had to basically move that out of my mind, body, and spirit. But I hadn't realized that that was there. It was so deep down in my subconscious that I had no idea that that memory was even living there until I experienced the expansion through the trigger. The trigger being someone changing my son's diaper. It wasn't that really the thing. That wasn't the thing that was actually really the thing I needed to clear. It was the 7 layers beneath that. So I always say the trigger is basically like interacting with a hot pan. So the pan itself is already hot for some reason. There's a flame that's been turned on for maybe 7 years ago, 7 decades ago. Like all these, there's a flame that's been turned on. There's a trigger that has been ignited from the first initial experience, right? And then all the things that we experience as triggers are basically us interacting with the hot pan. So there's the initial spark that happens where there's something that was out of alignment with us that happened, but we keep it in the cells of our body. Now the flame is on, it's always on, the pan is always hot, but a memory or a trigger will basically have us interact with the pan and it will feel hot. It will feel chaotic. It will feel confusing. It's not the trigger, it's what's underneath the trigger. So when you step into a space that can really help you better understand how do I actually cleanse and clear that energy, that's going to be the thing that's going to take you to the next level version of yourself, right? So it's so powerful. So this is the thing that I just want to remind you of is when we're manifesting in this next level version of ourselves, it's so important for us to start to recognize that it's going to be this beautiful, delicate dance of new energy coming in to dance with the old energy. And so it's beautiful. It's expanding us. It's asking us and inviting us into this next level version of ourselves. And so see it as a dance. And also place yourself in containers that can really hold you through that expansion. Because I think often people are they're basically investing in spaces that are just giving you a business strategy, but they're not holding you in all of the stuff that happens when we're expanding. The nervous system regulation that needs to expand, right? The healing that helps us release the old version of us to step into the new version of us. Building the business in alignment with your soul. So not just copying and pasting someone else's business strategy, because that's one way of making money. If it feels like it's in alignment with you, do that. But if it doesn't, I invite you into tapping into your intuition or hiring a business intuitive that's going to then allow you to not only give you one way of doing it, but to simultaneously guide you in to say, what is your way of doing it? Because so often I see people building other people's businesses based on other people's business strategies, and they don't have the vitality to build and scale it because it's not in alignment with their soul. So that could also be part of why you may be experiencing chaos through the expansion is you're trying to fit something that's square into something that's round. And so it doesn't feel good. So it's not allowing you to expand. So these are just many examples of why you might be feeling chaos as you're trying to expand. But I want you to know that it's actually, I want you to reframe the word chaos into dance, an energetic dance. What is basically happening? I'm expanding in the space. And so that can feel a little uprooting, but essentially what it's doing is it's basically asking you to step into a new potted plant. Like if you're a potted plant and you're asking yourself to expand into a new version of you, we are going to uproot you a little. We are going to uproot you from the old pot and place you into the bigger pot. Now that can feel chaotic. That can feel scary. That can feel like, wait, I was connected and rooted into this. Wait, my water source. Wait, all of these things, those fears, those things that are happening. But essentially what you're doing is you're actually prepping to expand into this next level version of the potted plant. And so you're getting exactly what you asked for. It just may feel a little chaotic in the process. So we have to calm our nervous system while we're doing this. It's so important that we calm our nervous system as we're stepping into the next level version of ourselves. So that is why I 10 out of 10 recommend dropping down into the show notes, get the 7-figure shift exercise. It's basically a nervous system regulation exercise that's going to help you step into that next level version of self, whether you're manifesting in 7 figures, 8 figures, 6 figures, or just manifesting in a soulmate or a next level version of success. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're manifesting in, you're essentially stepping into a new version of yourself, and you have to calm your nervous system through the process. So, number one, it's feeling chaotic because things are changing, things are shifting. That's actually a good thing. Now, how do you support yourself through the process? You place yourself into incredible containers that can hold you, and the big feelings that you feel about the fact that you're being repotted and it doesn't feel good and you want it to be in the same pot but experience different results. But that's not possible. And so what you need to do is step into a nurturing container that isn't saying you have to do it this way, only do it this way, feelings don't matter, push through it. No, I mean, that's not my way of expanding. I don't feel safe when I'm stepping into containers like that. My way of expanding is saying, I want to find the way that I want to build it. And I also want to create safety around building that thing so that I can do it with so much more ease and flow and speed. Because when we don't feel safe, we fight, flight, or freeze or fawn. And we're essentially stuck in that moment in time until we can release the fear. And so that's why I think it is so important to do all of the above, to build it in alignment with your soul, calm your nervous system in the process, and simultaneously heal everything that's been in the way of getting you to step into this next pot, getting you to step into this next level version of you. So I hope that this was supportive. This was 1,000% channeled, as all of my episodes always are. If you receive something really beautiful and tangible from this episode, please give this a 5-star review. That would mean so much to me, to the show, to the listener that is able to find this space and receive a brand new version of learning about business, 5D business building. I mean, it's so powerful. And so, what a gift to be able to share with them that building a business doesn't have to be so hard. And if it is feeling chaotic, there are ways to have it feel more like a dance and more like a repotting and more like a nurturing and nourishing way to step through the expansion. So I'm sending you so much light and love. I'm so grateful for everything that you're building for the collective. I love you from the depths of my soul. I can feel your energy in this space, and I'm so grateful for all of the beautiful energy that you're placing into this space and gifting into this space. This space would not be the same without you. So thank you for following your intuition, for listening to this episode, because I guarantee there was something really beautiful and powerful for you in this space. And I'm so eternally grateful for you and everything that you're creating on behalf of the collective, on behalf of God's source universe that wants to move through you. And I'm sending you so much light and love. Until next time. Mwah.